This is how I've covered my canvas. The top 2/3 is a mixture of powder blue that I've made and a bit of sky blue light and a bit more white. And it's still predominantly the powder blue, although I can see now that the sky blue light is having a slightly sort of turquoisey effect on it. But that's fine, I don't mind what color it is as long as it's a soft blue. And then the lower third is a mixture of a drop of purple, a few drops of black, some drops of white, and a little bit of burnt sienna. So it was just a little bit of each. I didn't want to make a lot. And all mixed together, it's made a nice sort of grey brown. It might, well, probably will darken up quite a bit. And onto that, I'm going to pour my colours. So I'm going to start with the tree trunks first. And well, first I'm actually going to blow these colours out a little bit, just to even them out and also to blow them into each other. I don't want a stark line. And then I'm going to lay down the colours of the tree trunks, and then I'll blow those out and up, straight up. And then I'll do the blossoms at the top. So welcome to Graceful Art Designs, and I hope you'll enjoy this video and come along with me on this journey of painting a lovely cherry blossom tree with fluid acrylics. So I'm just going to push these colours together. So first I'll just blow them across, just a little. I don't want to make it too thin. So if it's not moving, I'm not going to force it. So I'm just going to blow it down into the grey. Blew the colours out again, a bit more with more intense power, and so you can see the colours kind of blended together, but they didn't really blend much. And then I laid down the colours for the trees, and they're little stripes, horizontal stripes of brown, burnt umber, and cadmium red, and then a bit of white for the thicker tree, and then the thinner tree the same, and then the thinnest tree I kind of just lay them down in a straight line. So, and now I'm going to blow them out and see what happens. Look at this here. I want to produce that sort of cherry colour tree trunk. I'm happy with how those blew out. This one's a little bit pale, but it might darken up. We'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to do the blossoms at the top, and I'm starting with this mixture of permanent red violet and cadmium red deep, the same red that I used there, but just a very little. Actually, no, this was a different red. This was a red where I only had a tiny little tube, and it was, the reason I used it is because it's semi-transparent, whereas the permanent red violet was completely transparent, and that's why it didn't really show up much in my previous painting. So this time I wanted to make sure that I didn't want them to be red. I still wanted them to be pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a thin stripe this way. Maybe I'll do 2. And again, there's so many different ways you can do this. So this is just one way. And while I was thinking of it, I actually thought of another way, but then I thought, no, let me just stick to the first one. And so now I'm going to do the white over it. I'm not going to try and blow them out in the shapes of blossoms. I'm just going to blow straight along here. And then see how they turn out. So over that I'm going to pour some more of the magenta mixture. And then a little touches of gold. I'm not adding any more blue because there's enough blue in the background, and not every cherry blossom tree needs a bit of blue in the blossoms. Just a little bit of gold will probably look nice. See, the gold has all but vanished. I think that's fine, I'll just leave it as it is. There are some cells forming and some lovely colours, and I think it will be very pretty. I just need to blow either the blossoms or the tree down there. And now with the straw, just to get some nice rounder shapes around here, I'm going to blow the edges. Now with a long thin stick, well, it's not actually long enough. I really need a longer one, but I don't want to use any of my paintbrush sticks because they are not thin enough. And I just want to do the outlines, and then once it's dry, I will paint away the parts of the tree that I don't like. For example, here, and it might not hold. This is still very wet. And that will be this tree coming down. That side doesn't really have to be defined. And then I'm going to drag this, the lower part of the branches needs to be a bit thicker. But going up, I can drag it with this, I can make some nice thin stalks. So again, here I'm going to just do this. Then down here. No, actually. Like that. Like that. And I'll just paint away what I don't like. If I still see these lines once it's dried. That's a lovely cherry colour. And so is that. This one, well, they do come in all different colours, so it really is not much, it doesn't matter much. So with this paintbrush tip, I'm going to take some branches, like through the center here will be a thickish branch. Well, it's not going to last. And I'll just have to do it on repeat, I guess. And then through here. Should wipe off the brush in between, but it doesn't really matter here because all the colours are perfect for these blossoms. But I do want thinner stalks as you go out further and further to indicate the blossoms, and a bit of sky peeping through. And I think that will look very pretty. So let me just wipe this brush off. So you can see I've taken the center here and dragged it up through there. And the center, the paint is much thicker than at the edges. Even though I blew it out quite a bit, I can feel it. That's not clearly visible. I want to leave some of the blossoms just as they are. I don't want to tamper with them too much, because then you lose some of that lovely colour. And here we'll see this tree was, it's gone already. So it went up there somewhere. And this side came here. And then we'll drag it through like that. And if the colours, if these marks disappear, I'm not going to redo them while it's wet, because then I tend to get lost and I can't see where I'm going. And they might even be there and I just don't see them. So I'd rather just leave it to dry after one layer of branches. And then once it's dry, I can always add in, I can make the branches with some gold or brown. I can paint away the parts of the tree trunk that I don't like with this light blue. I've got plenty of that left. So it's always good to make sure you have enough paint and some to spare. Not just enough to cover the canvas, not just enough to do your design, but just enough to, in case you need to paint over anything in the end. And so here all the branches start to, overlap each other and can become a little confusing. So I will just leave it like this now. And hope for the best. And then I could drop a few little drops of pink down here, but or just maybe white. So here I've added a few drops of a pink mixture, then I added some white too, and then I added some drops of white on top of that. And I'll spur them out with a straw. Not moving much. Make some marks with the stick. So that's how I blew the cherry blossoms that had fallen down, and blew them out with a straw. And I added a little bit more brown down here, a little bit too much white. And I love that mixture of the red and brown. And yeah, I could have added some gold in there, but I didn't. But it almost looks like it has some gold. And I blew the blossoms out there a bit more because and here as well. But it's pooling there, and I want to create the look of the blossoms hanging downwards. So maybe I need to use the hairdryer for that.